What if every single student, no exceptions, knew their God-given purpose? Imagine the kind of impact that would have on their own lives, sure, but also on their communities and, well, on the whole world. This isn't just a nice thought, it's the vision that drives everything we're about to unpack.
So, okay, that's the big vision. But how do you get there? How do you make that a reality? Well, it all starts by really understanding the change we're talking about, that shift from feeling lost at sea to being firmly, solidly anchored.
And this puts it perfectly. On one side, you've got that feeling of being adrift. You know the one. You feel uncertain, you're just reacting to whatever life throws at you, you don't really have a direction. And then, on the other side, you've got anchored. This is where you're purposeful, you feel called, you're grounded in who you are. This whole journey is about making that move, from the left side of your screen over to the right.
And here's the belief that makes that whole shift possible. This is so important. It's not about trying to create purpose out of thin air. No, it's about uncovering the greatness that's already there. That is such an incredibly empowering place for any student to start from.
You know, if you want to build anything that's going to last, you have to have a solid foundation. A ship can't set its course until it has its anchor holding it steady. So let's take a closer look at what that anchor really stands for in this journey.
The logo itself actually tells a powerful story. You see the anchor. That's our stability, especially when things get turbulent. The book, well, that's our guide. It's our source of wisdom. And those rocks underneath it all, that's the unshakable foundation that everything else is built on.
So, here it is, the absolute bedrock concept, identity in Christ. This is the unwavering belief that your value, your real worth, isn't based on what you achieve or what you fail at. It's based on something constant, something unchanging. This identity is what becomes your source of strength. It's the compass for the whole journey. It's the very thing that keeps you steady when the whole world feels adrift.
Okay, so with that solid foundation in place, now we can actually begin the journey itself. And it's not random. It's a clear, intentional path with 6 distinct stages, where each one builds on the one before it.
So this is the anchor path. It starts with awaken, which is that moment of really discovering the core identity we just talked about. Then comes nurture. And this is all about developing that inner stillness, that resilience, learning how to find some peace and clarity when life is so noisy. From there, you cultivate faith and knowledge, actively growing and understanding your place in the world. And then you learn to hold space. This is huge. It means engaging with others with real empathy, trying to understand before you try to be understood. All of this leads to own, where you go from just knowing your calling to really embracing it with confidence. And finally, reflect, which is about putting it all together and living a life of purpose, not as some far-off goal, but as something you do every single day.
So what's the point of all this? Where does it all lead? What's the ultimate outcome of moving through these stages? Well, it's all about taking that inner work and turning it into an outward impact.
Ultimately, the goal here is to equip students not just for their own success, but for making a meaningful contribution. They become prepared, they're confident, and they're ready to use their unique gifts to serve other people and make a real, positive difference in the world around them.
And this just brings it all together perfectly. We're right back to the logo, but now we see it totally differently, right? Students come out of this journey truly anchored in faith and learning. And those are two forces that work together. One gives you stability, and the other gives you the momentum to grow.
So, we've walked through the vision, the foundation, and the actual path of this journey. Now, let's bring it home and make it a little more personal. Because this isn't just a framework for students, it's a principle that applies to all of us.
And that leads us to one final thought for you to just sit with for a minute. In all the currents and storms of your own life, what is it that's holding you steady? What are you anchored to?